Hello guys, welcome back to our channel and welcome back for another lecture in the subject matter personal identification techniques. So for today's lecture, we will be talking about criminal anthropometry and as well as criminal anthropology. So these two subdisciplines in criminology has a significant contribution, especially in the field of personal identification, because of the concept of this study. So before we proceed to that, let us first talk about them one by one. First thing that we're going to be talking about is the field of criminal anthropometry. So what does anthropometry means? Anthropometry is a word derived from the Greek word anthropos, which means human, and metron, which means measure. So basically, the term anthropometry refers to the measurement of the human individual. This is used in many fields, but what should we be interested at should be on how did the concept of anthropometry impacted the field of criminology, especially on criminal identification. Therefore, we should focus our discussion on the field of criminal anthropometry alone. Okay, so to get a better idea of its concept, allow me to introduce to you the person behind the concept of criminal anthropometry, and he is no other than Alphonse Bertillon. Alphonse Bertillon was a French police officer who applied the concept of anthropometry to law enforcement, creating an identification system based on physical measurement. Anthropometry was the first scientific system used by the police to identify criminals. Before that time, criminals could only be identified by name or photograph. The system he created is also termed as the Bertillon system. And if we're going to look into what motivated him to create this system, it is the fact that he noticed that a lot of criminals who have been arrested and freed already are caught again committing another crime. In short, he was very dissatisfied by the fact that recidivism is common among criminals, and he wanted to create a system that would easily keep track on gathering data to prove his own point. So he resulted in anthropometry. Well, the concept of anthropometry is that it records the body measurement of one person on a key area of human body, specifically the head length, the head breadth, the length of the middle finger, the length of the left foot, the length of the cubit, alongside with photograph of that person, currently known today as the mugshot, which was also initiated by Bertillon himself. All of this data will form part the individual record of that person, which can be used by the law enforcement for easier background checking and profiling. In case, again, they're going to apprehend a certain person, they're just going to check and verify whether there is already a previous record that has been filed within their office that signifies that the person that they had just arrested had been arrested or has a criminal or has a previous criminal record already. Majority of the law enforcement agency have a strong faith in this method of personal identification since human body measurement remains constant for about 20 years or more. However, what they fail to realize is that this system may only be reliable if applied to adult men who had reached their full physical maturity. And it will not work on children who are still growing rapidly, and also it will not work to women whose hair growth is also as fast compared to a man. And these circumstances may affect the other key point of the anthropometry. Another downfall of this system is when a twin brother was subjected to this personal identification. The story is that one of the twins committed a crime and has already an existing anthropometrical record of him filed on the police station. So, based on the records of the police, his twin brother was arrested, the one who is innocent. His twin brother was arrested and imprisoned of a crime committed by his twin, or based on the existing body measurement and records of that person that is within the possession of the police. Clearly, this is one of the lapses that the Bertillon system can be argued upon. The Bertillon system cannot establish the difference between identical twins or other circumstances that the body measurement may be similar to others. This landmark case that causes the downfall of the anthropometry, criminal anthropometry, or the Bertillon system is known as the West case. After its downfall, the Bertillon system or criminal anthropometry was then surpassed by fingerprint identification, which is a more accurate way of establishing the identity of a certain person. So that is the concept of criminal anthropometry. The things that we must remember with regards to this, it's the concept of anthropometry, wherein it records the body measurement based on the several key points that we mentioned, and the purpose of recording such data, which is for criminal profiling, for easier background investigation, and also for personal identification. Okay? And the thing that we must also remember with regards to this method of personal identification is the person who initiated it, which is Alphonse Bertillon. And we should also remember the fact that what causes the downfall of such personal identification technique, which is the incapability of the Bertillon system to distinguish the difference between two identical persons. Okay? Now let us proceed to the topic criminal anthropology. So criminal anthropology is a field of study wherein they are linking the study of human being to criminality. If we're going to look into what anthropology means, it means the study of human being. And if we're going to add the word criminal, then definitely we're studying human being in relation to criminality. This discipline is influenced by the evolution theory of Charles Darwin. The main proponent of criminal anthropology is no other than Cesar Lombroso, the father of criminology. This is very apparent on some of his notion, on some of the claims that Cesar Lombroso had made, specifically on his classification of criminals, wherein he claimed that there are atavistic or born criminals. Lombroso believes that criminals has a specific appearance. He believes that there are physical symptoms that can be linked to criminal behavior. In fact, he and his colleague mentioned some of the physical characteristics of criminals, and they are as follow. Lombroso outlined physiognomic characteristics which he and his followers believe to be common in all criminals. Some of which, but of course they are not limited in two, are the following. He believes that a person who is unusually short or unusually tall. So when we talk about unusually, we must look into the different races where that person belongs. If that race don't really have that types of height, whether he is very small compared to the normal individual, Lombroso believed that he possessed some higher criminal tendency. Another of the notion that he stated is those person who has small head but has a large face has also a greater criminal potential. Also those who have fleshy lips but thin upper lip, those who have bumps on head, whether in the back of the head or around the ear. He also believes that those person who have this have a higher criminal tendency. Wrinkles on the forehead and face, Allow me just to read some of this. Large sinus cavities or bumpy face, tattoos on the body is also a predictor according to Lombroso. Receding hairline. So if your hairline is too far from your forehead, then Lombroso will see you or will look at you and think that you have higher criminal tendency. Those who have large incisor, those who have bushy eyebrows tending to meet across the nose, those who have large eye socket but deep set eyes, those who possess a big or flat nose. I guess a lot of Filipinos are criminal then. Those who have strong jawline, those who have a small and sloping forehead, those who have a small or weak chin, those who have thin neck, those who have sloping shoulders but large chest, those who have large protruding ears, those who have long arms, and many more things described or mentioned by Lombroso and his colleague in the criminal anthropology. Lombroso believes that these are the physical predictors to criminality. If this characteristic is observed to one person, he will be perceived as person who has a high criminal tendency. Imagine that. The reason for the conceptualization of criminal anthropology is to detect and isolate and cure. Remember that Lombroso was the proponent of the positivist school of criminology, the humanitarianistic approach in the study of criminality and criminal behavior. So that is why he made mention that the purpose of criminal anthropology is to detect those person who has a high criminal tendency, isolate them, and cure them. He believes that if criminals can be detected at the earliest possible time, the more likely an intervention and diversion activity will be made to affect the behavior of that person positively. So let me put it in an example. If Mr. Pedro possesses many of the physical characteristics we made mention by Lombroso, he will be perceived as a potential criminal, which will then be taken away from the society to be relocated into an area free from any other social factors that may increase his potential to become a criminal. So that is what you call detect, isolate, and cure. Because if a person who have a high criminal tendency is put in a place wherein the social factors is not beneficial to his growth, to his behavioral development, then the more likely that his tendency will furthermore increase. So that is why Lombroso want to detect those individuals who have high criminal tendency as early as possible so that an intervention program or a diversion program can be made to them to cure them of their criminal tendency. You know, the concept of anthropology is good. However, the method of identifying a criminal is absolutely ridiculous. Many criminologists do not agree with this concept already. It's no longer being taken seriously because a lot of study has been conducted already that shows that there is no physical characteristic that can be an accurate predictor of a criminal tendency. We believe that the intention of Lombroso regarding this is very pure, that is to help a peaceful society by removing those individuals who have a high criminal tendency and trying to improve or cure them, their behavior, their tendency, and then reinstate them back to the society. However, as we have stated, this is the method on how they are trying to detect criminals is definitely ridiculous. Okay? So those are the concept of criminal anthropometry and criminal anthropology. Both of this subfield in the field of criminology is used for the purpose of establishing the identity of a certain person, whether that is his identity relevant to his criminal potential or his identity relevant to criminal responsibility. Okay, so I do hope you learned something from this short lecture. If you have questions relative to this, feel free to comment that down on the comment section and I will try to provide answer as soon as I can. That's it for today. See you on the next lecture.